What if everything you thought you knew about millionaires was wrong? What if the secret to building substantial wealth wasn't really about high incomes or flashing luxury cars or inheriting a massive fortune, but something far more accessible, yet surprisingly overlooked in our, consumer-driven world? All right, let's pull back the curtain on this today. We're taking a deep dive into a truly groundbreaking book that completely reshaped how we understand wealth accumulation. The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko. This incredible book, it's based on extensive research, thousands of interviews, and it doesn't just challenge conventional wisdom. It pretty much demolishes our preconceived notions about America's affluent.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is that The Millionaire Next Door isn't merely a guide to accumulating money. It's really a profound look at the behaviors, the core beliefs, and the consistent lifestyles that actually lead to lasting wealth. Our mission today really is to distill the most impactful nuggets from this book, offering you, our listeners, a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about not just how to become, but crucially, how to stay financially independent.
And we've got quite a journey ahead of us. We're going to be debunking some major myths, diving deep into the surprisingly understated habits of the truly wealthy, and exploring the common pitfalls many high-income earners fall into. We'll even look at how millionaires approach everything from, say, car shopping to raising their children. You'll hear about specific case studies that will definitely stick with you, compelling data and practical insights that honestly could profoundly change your entire perspective on money and success.
It really brings up an important question for all of us, doesn't it? What truly defines wealth in the modern world? And maybe more importantly, how do ordinary people, without inheritances or celebrity status, actually achieve it? The book provides some incredibly counterintuitive answers that we're going to explore in detail, and I think you'll find them, pretty liberating, actually.
Okay, let's start with the very first and maybe the most crucial aha moment from The Millionaire Next Door. Its core definition of wealth. The book makes this stark differentiation. Wealth, it argues, is what you accumulate, not what you spend. Now, that simple statement fundamentally challenges the common belief, right? That a big paycheck automatically means a big net worth. Most people, if they're honest, they kind of conflate high income with wealth, assuming the two are interchangeable. But the book demonstrates they are anything but.
Right, and here's the core paradox the book immediately highlights. America is incredibly wealthy as a nation, yet a surprising number of its citizens, even those earning substantial incomes, are not actually wealthy. Why? Because, as the authors explain, so many of us are trapped on this earn and consume treadmill. We chase bigger paychecks, but only to spend every dollar a bit, sometimes more, never actually accumulating any meaningful wealth. If you make a good income and spend it all, you're not getting wealthier, you're just living a high consumption lifestyle. That's a critical insight, especially when you consider that back in 1996, when the book was written, personal wealth in America was over $22 trillion, but nearly half of that owned by just 3.5% of households. The book argues that many other households, even those with seemingly comfortable incomes, have very little accumulated wealth because, they lack discipline to save and invest.
And to make this distinction crystal clear, the book gives us some truly eye-opening examples. Let's look at Dr. John J. Ashton. He's a 56-year-old physician. He's earning approximately $560,000 annually. Now, when you hear that number, your mind probably jumps to mansions, luxury cars, a massive investment portfolio, right?
Sure, that's the assumption.
His stated net worth is $1.1 million, which, sounds impressive on its own. However, the book introduces this simple formula to calculate expected net worth based on age and income. And according to this formula, Dr. Ashton should be worth over $3 million. He's what the authors call an under-accumulator of wealth, or UAW.
A UAW, yeah.
Because his high-consumption lifestyle, the constant spending to maintain a certain image, means he could only sustain himself for maybe 2 to 3 years if he stopped working. His income is high, yes, but his accumulated wealth is, frankly, disappointingly low for his earnings level.
Exactly. Now, let's compare Dr. Ashton with Charles Bobbins. He's a 41-year-old fireman. His wife works as a secretary. Their combined annual income is a modest $55,000. So for his income and age cohort, Mr. Bobbins' expected net worth, using that formula, should be around $225,500. Yet the book reveals he's actually worth much more than that. He and his wife are, they're masters of saving and investing. They have a low consumption lifestyle. They live well below their means. And because of this discipline, he could sustain his family for an astonishing 10 years without working. Within their income and age categories, the Bobbinses are truly wealthy. They're a prodigious accumulator of wealth, or PAW. They really embody financial independence.
A PAW. So what does this truly mean for you, our listener? It fundamentally redefines wealth. It just flips the script on who we think is wealthy. The fireman, Mr. Bobbins, is genuinely wealthy for his income and age cohort. He demonstrates remarkable financial independence and a strong defense, as the book calls it, against overspending. Meanwhile, the high-earning doctor is a UAW despite his impressive income because he's caught in that cycle of constant spending.
Mm-hmm.
The book's powerful metaphor here is that true wealth is about building your cattle, your net worth, not accumulating chattel, those slashy status symbols that often just mask financial fragility. And this leads us straight to another truly fascinating revelation. Here's where the book gets really interesting, I think. It dismantles our visual stereotypes of millionaires. Forget the image of someone draped in expensive designer clothes, constantly upgrading to the latest luxury car, sporting a $5,000 watch. The book just completely shatters that pervasive media-driven stereotype, revealing a very different, far more understated reality.
Indeed. The extensive research compiled in the book found that most millionaires are strikingly different from how they're often portrayed. For instance, the vast majority of millionaires surveyed never spent even 1/10 of $5,000 for a watch. Only a small minority drive foreign luxury cars, and even fewer actually lease their vehicles, which, let's be honest, is often a sign of trying to afford a car you can't truly buy outright. In stark contrast, the book mentions this trust officer friend, who, while appearing affluent, spends significantly more on his suits and wears a $5,000 watch. But he's emphatically not a typical millionaire. He's often acting the part, maybe trying desperately to impress his clients, while actual millionaires are far more understated. They focus on substance over share.
It's a stark, almost unbelievable contrast. The data the book presents is truly eye-opening. It forces you to reconsider every expensive car or suit you see. The typical American millionaire, for instance, never spent more than $399 for a suit. Think about that.
$399.
Only about 1 in 10 paid $1,000 or more, and a minuscule 1 in 100 paid $2,800 or more. Furthermore, the book found that millionaires are 4 times more likely to hold a Sears card than a Brooks Brothers card. JCPenney is also incredibly popular among the affluent.
Sears and Pennies.
And here's another kicker. A mere 6.2% hold an American Express Platinum card, that ultimate status symbol for many. What does this tell you? It suggests it's not the truly rich who are buying those $1,000 suits and chasing exclusive credit cards. Those are often the UAWs, the under-accumulators, desperately trying to project an image of wealth they haven't actually built. They're like performing affluence, not possessing it.
That really underscores the book's central point. Many people who are not genuinely wealthy are the ones buying those expensive status items. The book identifies this common psychological trap, the need to compensate for perceived deficiencies or maybe to impress others, especially those around them who are also spending heavily. These are the teddy friends of the world, as the book calls them, driven by a need to kind of outperform their college-educated peers in terms of display. They're always working for things, buying things, and never truly enjoying the financial freedom that real wealth provides. The true Johnny Lucases, the millionaires who appear utterly middle class with their mundane consumption habits, are precisely the ones ignored by the media. Their financial independence comes from discipline and quiet accumulation, not from flashy display.
Okay, so another common belief. So many people think that wealth is largely inherited, right? Like it's a result of being born into a privileged family or maybe just a stroke of extraordinary luck. You constantly hear stories about trust funds and generational family fortunes. But the book offers a really surprising counter-narrative. It reveals that the vast majority of millionaires in America actually built their wealth themselves from the ground up.
That's absolutely right. Most people have it wrong. The book asserts it's seldom inherited wealth or pure luck or even advanced degrees or exceptional intelligence alone that enables people to amass fortunes. Instead, wealth is far more often the result of a lifestyle rooted in, well, plain old hard work, unwavering perseverance, meticulous planning, and profound self-discipline. The book's research reveals that about 80% of America's millionaires are first-generation rich.
80%.
Yeah. This truly raises an important question. If it's not inherited, what is the common thread among these individuals? It's a powerful testament to the American dream, maybe, for those who understand and diligently apply these fundamental principles. The book even notes a stark reality. The fortunes built by these self-made individuals are often completely dissipated by the second or third generation, which highlights the surprisingly fluid and often ephemeral nature of wealth in America. It doesn't always stick around.
And the specific data from the book really reinforces this self-made narrative. Only a small fraction, just 19%, of millionaires received any income or wealth of any kind from a trust fund or an estate. Even fewer, under 20%, inherited 10% or more of their total wealth. And here's a real kicker. More than half of the millionaires surveyed never received as much as $1 in inheritance in their entire lives. Not $1.
Wow.
What's more, nearly half never received any college tuition money from their parents or other relatives either.
This completely debunks that pervasive silver spoon narrative for the Millionaire Next Door concept. It's about charting your own course, taking profound responsibility for your financial future, and cultivating a very specific set of behaviors and values. The book even delves into ancestry groups, like Russian and Scottish, which have disproportionately high concentrations of millionaires, despite not being the largest demographic groups or necessarily having the highest average incomes. This fascinating observation suggests that deep-seated cultural values, emphasizing things like frugality, hard work, and education, play a far more significant role than any inherited advantage.
Okay, so here's another assumption. You might instinctively think that more education automatically translates to more wealth, right? It's almost ingrained in us. The more degrees you have, the more money you'll make and ultimately keep. But the book provides an intriguing nuance here. It reveals a different side of the equation, especially for high-income earners.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is that for high-income earners, specifically those making over $100,000 annually, the book actually found a negative correlation between the number of academic degrees and wealth accumulation.
Negative.
Negative. High-income prodigious accumulators of wealth, PAWs W, are significantly less likely to hold graduate degrees, law degrees, or medical degrees compared to the underaccumulators of wealth, UAWs. Millionaires, according to the book, often identify themselves simply as business owner with some college, maybe a 4-year college graduate, or sometimes surprisingly even no college. Now, this isn't to say education isn't valuable, of course not, but it redefines its direct linear impact on accumulated wealth.
So why exactly is this the case? That seems so counterintuitive.
Well, the book offers a clear and compelling analysis. Professionals like doctors, for instance, often lag significantly on the wealth scale despite their exceptionally high incomes. They get a late start in the earnings race, primarily due to extended schooling. They often postpone income production and, crucially, wealth building by many years.
Right, while they're in med school or residency.
Exactly. While they're deep in medical school or residency, their peers who maybe went into business or trades are already earning, saving, and investing. This isn't an indictment of higher education. I mean, the authors themselves readily admit they spent nearly 20 years pursuing advanced degrees and weren't wealthy. They put it perfectly. Wealth is blind. It cares not if its patrons are well-educated. It cares about starting early and investing what you earn, not just the earning potential of the degree itself.
Starting early and investing. Got it.
Precisely. The book gives us a great illustration of this with Mr. Denzi, a business owner with just some college compared to Dr. Dokes, a valedictorian with a high income. Mr. Denzi has accumulated 5 to 6 times the wealth of Dr. Dokes despite having similar annual incomes.
5 to 6 times.
Yes. And the core reason. Mr. Denzi began earning and critically investing earlier in his adult life. The authors use their own experience to highlight this point. Their extensive education contributed to their expertise and ability to write this book, absolutely, but it didn't automatically make them wealthy in the same way the research subjects became. It's a powerful lesson in prioritizing wealth-building behaviors, especially that early investment over just the pursuit of credentials for credentials' sake, or even seeing them as the primary means to wealth.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the book identifies these core behaviors.
Yes, the book effectively distills 7 common denominators, 7 crucial habits, among those who successfully build wealth. And these aren't abstract concepts or, secret rituals of the elite. They're profoundly actionable behaviors that anyone can adopt and implement to achieve financial independence. These factors, observed through extensive real-world research, clearly explain how ordinary people become wealthy, regardless of their starting point.
Okay, let's unpack these core principles then.
Yeah.
The ones that underpin the millionaire lifestyle. They begin, as we've hinted, with living well below your means. That's a huge theme running through the book. And then extend into the efficient allocation of time, energy, and money. These aren't just suggestions, right? The book presents them as the fundamental foundations, the building blocks, not just of wealth accumulation, but of lasting financial security and genuine freedom.
Being consistently frugal is, without a doubt, the cornerstone of wealth building, as defined in the book. It's about consciously reflecting economy in the use of all your resources, which is the exact opposite of that wasteful, lavish, hyperconsumption lifestyle that, let's face it, so many are drawn to. The book emphasizes that being frugal fundamentally means valuing financial independence, that freedom to choose over the mere display of high social status. This is a major differentiator between the PAWs, our prodigious accumulators, and the UAWs, the underaccumulators. It's not about being cheap for cheapness' sake. It's about being strategically smart and disciplined with every dollar you have.
And the book is absolutely full of specific, often surprising examples of this pervasive frugality. We've already heard that most millionaires spend $399 or less on suits, which is just astounding when you think about it.
It really is.
And a significant portion of them shop at places like JCPenney or Sears, with over 30% holding Penny's credit cards. Now imagine Johnny Lucas, a millionaire the book mentions, net worth exceeding $2 million, yet he appears utterly middle class to his neighbors.
Yeah.
Why? Because his consumption habits are, as the book puts it, mundane.
Mundane, yeah.
His rewards are entirely intangible. The profound sense of financial independence, the discipline he cultivates, the satisfaction of being an excellent provider for his family. This is precisely why you don't see the Johnny Lucases of the world showcased on TV or in glossy magazines. Their path to financial independence comes from quiet discipline, strategic accumulation, purposeful saving, not from ostentatious display.
And what's even more fascinating here, building on this theme of frugality, is that not only are PAWs, the prodigious accumulators, inherently frugal, but their spouses tend to be even more so. The book repeatedly highlights the great defense played by wives in married millionaire households, often reinforcing and even enhancing the frugal habits of their husbands.
The great defense, I like that.
Yeah. There's a wonderful, memorable anecdote in the book about a self-made millionaire's wife who, even after her family became affluent, continued diligently cutting out 25 and 50-cent off food coupons on Saturday mornings. When asked about it, she told her husband, "Nothing is so important as to interrupt her Saturday morning chores. It's how come we're well off today. We made a lot of trade-offs, sacrifices early in our marriage." This isn't just a quaint story. It demonstrates a consistent, ingrained habit of frugality that permeates the entire household. It's a shared value that contributes massively to their accumulated wealth.
So it's a team effort, really.
Absolutely. And beyond mere frugality, the effective and deliberate allocation of time, energy, and money is absolutely fundamental to building wealth. At the heart of this lies budgeting and diligently controlling expenses. The book presents compelling data. For every 100 millionaires who admittedly don't budget, there are about 120 who do. That's not a minor difference. It's a significant indicator of intentional financial management.
So most do budget.
Most do. Mrs. Rule, a millionaire auctioneer mentioned in the book, average annual income of $90,000, net worth over $2 million. She's a prime example of this discipline. She explicitly states she became a millionaire by budgeting and meticulously controls her expenses to maintain her affluent status. It's not about deprivation, it's about control and purpose.
So what does this practical approach to budgeting and expense control truly mean for you, our listener?
I guess it boils down to discipline and intentionality. The book uses that excellent analogy. Consider joggers who seem not to need to jog. They are fit precisely because they jog consistently.
Similarly, millionaires are financially fit because they work at it consistently. In stark contrast, the research shows that many UAWs, the underaccumulators, spend 3 times more time exercising per month than they do planning their investment strategies or reviewing their budgets. 3 times more on exercise than finances.
That's what the data showed. It's a stark imbalance.
The core lesson here is about prioritizing your financial health with the same rigor and dedication you apply to your physical health, making those dedicated hours for financial planning a non-negotiable part of your routine.
Indeed. The book provides even more telling data points to illustrate this crucial difference. Nearly 2/3 of millionaires know exactly how much their family spends each year for essential categories like food, clothing, and shelter. In comparison, only about 35% of high-income non-millionaires have this level of awareness, just 35%.
Wow, that's low.
It is. This profound lack of awareness among UAWs means they simply cannot effectively control their spending because they don't even know where their money is going. The case study of Mrs. Rule, meticulous in her domestic spending and accumulating over $2 million, versus Robert and Judy, earning $200,000 but feeling perpetually frightened and controlled by consumption, with only a fraction of Mrs. Rule's wealth. It really drives this home. Mrs. Rule wants to be free of financial worry, and she uses careful tabulation and awareness to control consumption, avoiding allocating too many dollars to categories that aren't truly important for her financial independence.
So awareness is key. But what about those who don't budget?
Well, for those millionaires who might not budget every single dollar, the book reveals another clever, almost psychological strategy. More than half create an artificial economic environment of scarcity by investing first and only spending the balance. They embrace what's widely known as the pay yourself first strategy, investing a minimum of 15% of their annual income before paying for any consumption. This ingenious method forces discipline and ensures wealth accumulation, even if they don't meticulously track every single dollar. It's about setting up a system that automatically builds wealth.
Okay, now here's where the book truly gets eye-opening and challenging. How millionaires actually buy cars versus how UAWs typically approach it. The book completely dismantles that stereotype of millionaires constantly driving flashy, brand-new luxury vehicles every single year.
It really does.
Most millionaires, it turns out, are dealer shoppers, not necessarily loyal to one brand or dealership, and many, surprisingly, prefer used vehicles. Their priority is value and reliability over status and the latest model.
The book gives us a truly fascinating, almost comical comparison to illustrate this point. Dr. South, a high-income surgeon, spent months meticulously finding the best deal on a $65,000 Porsche. He invested over 60 hours in the process of negotiation and searching.
60 hours on a car deal.
During that same period, he only managed to put $5,700 into his pension plan. This highlights a significant and concerning difference. Dr. South is a classic example of penny-wise, pound-foolish. His extensive efforts in car shopping yielded absolutely no capital gains, no enhanced business productivity, and ultimately did not move him closer to financial independence. Most millionaires, the book clarifies, never spent anywhere near $65,000 on a car. They simply ignore such opportunities for high-status consumption because, as the book states, that's why they're millionaires.
That's why they're millionaires.
They fundamentally understand that the consumption of very expensive automobiles has a significant dampening effect on their long-term wealth building. It just siphons off capital that could be invested.
So in stark contrast, we have Dr. North, the PAW example.
Right. Dr. North, a prodigious accumulator of wealth. He spends less than an hour a year on car purchases, and he famously keeps his cars for a very long time. The book describes a specific group, used vehicle-prone shoppers, who make up about 19.5% of millionaires. This group consistently scores highest on all measures of frugality. They often invest a significantly larger portion of their income and are meticulous record keepers. Their strategy: they buy 2 to 4-year-old low-mileage vehicles knowing that the steepest depreciation has already occurred and then often resell them for close to what they paid.
Smart. They let someone else take the big depreciation hit.
Exactly. They let someone else absorb that initial loss. This group's profound philosophy is beautifully captured by that anecdote in the book about the Nebraska farmer who equated dollars to seeds. He wisely said, "You can eat the seeds or sow them, but when you would see what seeds turned into? 10-foot-high corn. You don't want to waste them."
This powerful metaphor illustrates a core millionaire mindset. They derive immense enjoyment and satisfaction from watching their money grow and compound, not from conspicuous consumption or transient displays of status. It's a profoundly different worldview.
That's a great image. Okay, so beyond just frugality and efficient allocation of resources, the book touches on several other crucial factors common among the wealthy, like believing financial independence is vastly more important than displaying high social status, that's factor 3, being proficient in targeting specific market opportunities, factor 6, and making strategic choices about their occupation, factor 7. We'll circle back to some of these, but they all reinforce those underlying principles of self-discipline and strategic thinking. Yes, these aren't isolated points. They are threads that weave through the entire fabric of the millionaire's life. For instance, that emphasis on financial independence factor 3 directly and powerfully influences their consumption choices. The book shares another great anecdote about Mr. W. Allen, a self-made multimillionaire who famously refused a Rolls-Royce.
Not because he couldn't afford it, I bet.
Not at all, but because, as he put it, with a Rolls, I can't go to some of the crummy restaurants I enjoy going to. His freedom, his ability to choose, was more valuable than the car. And choosing occupations that genuinely align with wealth building rather than just chasing the highest income is also critical. They often choose paths that give them more control over their financial destiny, fostering true autonomy.
Control and freedom seem to be recurring themes. Okay, now this next section from the book delves into a topic that might hit very close to home for many of our listeners, especially parents or grandparents. It's about what the authors term economic outpatient care, or EOC.
EOC, yeah.
This refers to the substantial economic gifts and what are often perceived as acts of kindness that some affluent parents give to their adult children and grandchildren. While usually well-intentioned, coming from a place of love and wanting to help, the book reveals a darker, often detrimental side to this generosity.
EOC is surprisingly widespread in America. The book states that over 46% of the affluent give at least $15,000 annually in such gifts. This phenomenon is often driven by parents feeling compelled or obligated, maybe seeing their children having a rough time making ends meet, or simply wanting to share their success. Yet it can have profound and unforeseen negative consequences. The book's research highlights that nearly half of adult children of the affluent under 35 receive annual cash gifts.
Nearly half.
Yeah, and interestingly, gift givers consistently report a higher incidence and dollar amount of giving than recipients admit.
Why is that?
Suggests maybe some discomfort or underreporting on the part of the recipients, perhaps. It was estimated that a staggering 1 trillion with a T in gifts from living parents and grandparents to adult children and grandchildren was transferred just between 1996 and 2005 alone. This truly raises an important question. Do these substantial gifts genuinely help, or do they inadvertently hinder the recipient's own wealth accumulation and financial independence? The book's answer is, far too often, the latter.
It hinders them.
Well, the book found a strong and concerning inverse relationship. The more dollars adult children receive in EOC, the fewer dollars they actually accumulate themselves. This is a critical insight because these gifts are far too often earmarked for immediate consumption, not for saving or investing. This creates a relentless treadmill of consumption where recipients become accustomed to a subsidized lifestyle they simply cannot maintain on their own earned income.
Makes sense.
The data is compelling and unambiguous. In 8 out of 10 occupational categories studied, adult children who consistently receive gifts have significantly smaller net worths and lower incomes than their peers who do not receive such gifts. For example, accountants receiving EOC have only 57% of the net worth and 78% of the income of those who don't receive such gifts. It vividly demonstrates a clear correlation between receiving EOC and decreased economic productivity and wealth-building capability.
Wow. What's also truly fascinating and kind of alarming here is that gift receivers often fail to distinguish between their wealth and their parents' wealth.
Exactly. The book quotes a professional asset manager, Tony Montage, who observed, "Gift receivers, the adult children of the affluent feel that their parents' wealth capital is their income to be spent. They fundamentally view parental capital as a steady stream of income to be spent, rather than a finite resource to be managed, grown, or independently generated."
Like it's just an allowance.
Pretty much. It's strikingly similar to the analogy the book uses of an 8-year-old claiming, "This is my property," about their parents' yard. Many adult gift receivers behave in a similar fashion, never fully developing an independent sense of financial ownership or responsibility.
And there was that case study about James.
Oh, yes. The montage effect is powerfully illustrated by James. Having received substantial cash gifts throughout his adult life, James became indignantly furious, actually screaming, "That's my property too," when his parents discussed giving a commercial property to a college. He had come to expect an annual gift equivalent to about 20% of his income just to cover his expenses. He genuinely saw his parents' capital as his future income stream, completely failing to recognize his own profound financial dependency.
And he thought he was self-made.
He even considered himself self-made, which shows a remarkable and often tragic disconnect between reality and perception among many gift receivers. It's a psychological trap that EOC frequently sets.
Okay, what else? Does EOC have other negative impacts?
Yes, another significant one is that gift receivers are significantly more dependent on credit. They frequently use it to smooth out cash flow problems while eagerly awaiting the next windfall from their parents. Their seemingly comfortable lifestyle is often little more than a fragile facade, built on borrowed money and anticipated future gifts, not on self-generated income.
Like Marion Lamar in the book.
Exactly. Consider the poignant case study of Marion Lamar, a couple earning a modest $60,000 a year, yet living this lavish, upper-middle-class lifestyle. How? Because Mary's mother provides consistent EOC, a down payment on their home, ongoing mortgage payments, and a regular $15,000 a year in cash. They admit, "We really count on that money." The book labels them as UAWs on EOC, perfectly illustrating how gifts, while well-intentioned, can trap individuals in a perilous cycle of dependency and false affluence. Their neighbors see the lifestyle and might assume it's achievable on that income, completely unaware of the hidden subsidies.
That's misleading for everyone around them, too.
It is. And what's also particularly concerning, and a key insight from the book, is how parents with the best of intentions often inadvertently strengthen the already strong child and weaken the weaker one. They tend to focus more resources and decision-making on the less resourceful child, shielding them from the natural consequences of their actions.
So they overhelp the one who struggles more.
Often, yes. And this raises an important question. Does this approach actually help the child in the long run to develop resilience and financial acumen? The book presents sobering examples, like a mother moving her shy daughter to the back of the class, or a father trying to get a professor fired because his daughter failed a course. These actions, while loving, prevent the child from facing challenges and developing coping mechanisms. Contrast this with the story of a father who proactively tutored his son with poor verbal skills, patiently working with him until he succeeded. That active, empowering support led to genuine growth and success.
And that ties into Mrs. BPF's story, right? The one still living at home.
Exactly. This pattern of weakening the weak is tragically illustrated by Mrs. BPF in the book. In her late 30s, she still lives at home, her parents finance her business, and they give her $60,000 annually. What's truly surprising is that despite this incredible safety net, she has taken very little financial risk in her business ventures and, strikingly, reports more fears and anxieties than unsubsidized business owners.
More fear with more support.
Yes. The book powerfully argues that by consistently removing the necessity to succeed, her parents inadvertently fostered a profound lack of courage and self-reliance, creating an ideal environment that ironically hinders rather than promotes true independence and resilience.
Okay, so this sounds pretty bad. Are all gifts bad then? What does this mean for parents who want to help their children but avoid these pitfalls?
That's a great question. And no, not all gifts are inherently bad. The book outlines specific forms of EOC that do have a strong positive influence, primarily subsidizing education and carefully earmarking gifts to start or significantly enhance a business. These types of gifts are designed to empower and equip rather than simply enable dependency.
So education and business startups.
Exactly. Self-made millionaires intuitively understand this distinction. They often prefer to give their offspring private stock, for example, which cannot be readily traded for a new luxury automobile. This encourages long-term investment and ownership rather than immediate, fleeting consumption. And paying for education, as the book suggests, is like teaching your children how to fish. Rather than just dispensing fish, it equips them with invaluable knowledge and tools for future self-sufficiency. That's a truly crucial distinction from simply providing cash for living expenses.
Like the Kinko's founder story.
Precisely. A prime, real-world example from the book is Paul Orfalea, the highly successful founder of Kinko's. He started his business with a modest $5,000 loan co-signed by his father. That's a clear and textbook example of EOC that was strategically earmarked for a business venture. This targeted support fostered immense courage and calculated financial risk-taking, which ultimately led to extraordinary success. His father didn't just give him cash for consumption, he helped him launch an enterprise. He provided a springboard, not a hammock.
The springboard, not a hammock.
Yeah.
I like that. And the story of the two sisters, Sarah and Alice.
Oh, that's another deeply powerful and illustrative case study. Sarah, the strong-willed sister, was intentionally cut off financially by her father for pursuing her own career path against his wishes. This adversity, rather than breaking her, spurred her to become a self-made millionaire, forging immense resilience. Her sister, Alice, a more type B housewife, received substantial EOC and a significant inheritance, but tragically spent it all.
Spent it all.
All of it. Due to her high propensity to spend, but little propensity to earn, as the book puts it. In the end, it was Sarah, the semi-disinherited Cinderella, who had to set up trusts for Alice's children. Those children, the book notes, know nothing about money due to their parents' UAW habits. This vivid story powerfully illustrates the long-term, often intergenerational consequences of different approaches to EOC. It demonstrates that sometimes tough love and the absence of a safety net can yield the greatest financial independence.
Wow. Okay. So shifting gears slightly, for those of us listening and thinking about how to build wealth ourselves, the book offers a clear, actionable strategy. It mentions becoming proficient in targeting specific market opportunities, especially by effectively serving the affluent. What does that look like?
Right. It's about understanding exactly where the money is being spent or managed and positioning yourself to provide invaluable services there. The book's research unearthed the crucial insight. While millionaires are indeed frugal for many everyday consumer goods, they are decidedly not price sensitive when it comes to specific high-value services.
Not price sensitive for certain things, like what?
like top-tier investment advice, meticulous accounting, expert tax and legal counsel, specialized medical care, and high-quality educational services. They are more than willing to pay premium prices for these. And because the vast majority of millionaires, as the book shows, are self-employed business owners, they also consistently purchase industrial products and services, everything from office space and IT support to specialized computer software and raw materials.
Okay, business services too.
Definitely. And critically, the book also points out that millionaires are not frugal when it comes to their children and grandchildren. And often the children of the affluent are not frugal themselves. This creates distinct, high-demand market niches for those who understand how to serve them. The book, back in 1996, made some predictions. It estimated millionaire households would reach about 5.6 million by 2005, holding nearly 60% of America's personal wealth. And that significant wealth transfers, that $1 trillion in gifts and $2.1 trillion in estates, would occur, all presenting immense and enduring opportunities for specialized service providers.
Okay, so understanding these insights, what does this all mean for career choices? The book points to several professions that are really well positioned to benefit from serving this affluent market.
Yes, it specifically highlights attorneys specializing in estate law, tax law, and immigration law. Estate attorneys, for example, were estimated to generate over $25 billion in revenue from 1996 to 2005 just from estates worth $1 million or more, plus fees for acting as executors. Tax attorneys will always be crucial as governments seek to tax wealth. Navigating complex tax codes is essential for the wealthy.
And immigration law.
And immigration attorneys, yes. In a world facing increasing global instability, they benefit immensely from affluent foreigners seeking American citizenship and the safety and security it offers. The book highlighted fears of Taiwanese business owners concerned about China's potential influence, leading to billions in investment moving to the U.S. These are services that directly protect and grow wealth.
What about healthcare?
Medical and dental care specialists are another incredibly robust area. The book projected the affluent would spend over $52 billion on medical dental care for their adult children and grandchildren in the decade after 96. This includes a wide range of services: cosmetic dentistry, plastic surgery, dermatology, allergy treatments, psychologists for career counseling or eating disorders, psychiatrists for stress, even chiropractors. These are services where the affluent are less price sensitive and consistently prioritize the highest quality for themselves and their families.
And education too, right? You mentioned they spend on grandkids' schooling.
Absolutely. Educational institutions and professionals are also set to benefit substantially. The book found over 40% of millionaires pay for grandchildren's private schooling, driving up demand and tuition. This directly benefits private schools, teachers, counselors, and tutors. The parents of these children, often not directly bearing the cost, are relatively insensitive to the escalating tuition. They see it as an investment.
Okay, and accountants, they seem critical.
Accountants are identified as absolutely crucial players, indispensable for sophisticated tax planning, navigating complex estate, trust, and gift tax solutions, business valuations, retirement planning. The list goes on. They often serve as co-executors, receiving a percentage of estates. The book notes millionaires frequently rely on their accountants as their most trusted financial advisors, often their first line of defense against huge tax bills. It's a relationship built on trust and vital expertise.
It's abundantly clear. Where there's significant wealth, there's a profound need for specialized, high-quality services. And those who are smart enough to provide them can carve out their own profitable path to affluence. It's about targeting those specific opportunities.
Precisely.
Now, beyond these specialized professional services, the book also highlights the remarkable wealth-building potential in seemingly dull, normal businesses, especially through self-employment. This challenges that common notion that you need to be in a glamorous, high-tech industry to get rich. The book says often the opposite is true.
That's right. The book points out that typically it's companies in these dull, normal industries, think wallboard manufacturing, building materials, suppliers, mobile home dealers, pest control, rice farming, welding contractors, that consistently perform exceptionally well for their owners. These businesses often attract less intense competition precisely because they lack glamour.
Less competition, that makes sense.
And demand for their essential offerings isn't usually subject to rapid or unpredictable downturns. This provides stable and highly profitable opportunities for their dedicated owners. These are often the Johnny Lucases of the business world, unglamorous but incredibly effective wealth generators, flying under the radar.
And self-employment itself has advantages.
The self-employment advantage, particularly in these areas, is profoundly significant. The book states that self-employed individuals, even those with seemingly middle incomes, intuitively integrate investment planning directly into their work lives. It's just part of running the business. They also consistently report tremendous freedom and perceive less inherent risk than those working for others, precisely because they are in direct control of their own destiny and income stream.
Control again.
Yes. As that Holocaust survivor eloquently explained when asked why all his children were self-employed professionals, they can take your business, but they can't take your intellect. Professionals sell their intellect. It's portable, adaptable, and incredibly difficult to confiscate, making it a highly secure and invaluable asset.
And the profitability data supports this.
Strongly. While only a minority of self-employed professionals might make profits as high as, say, a top business owner like that coal mine owner earning $600 kill mentioned in the book, a much higher percentage of professional firms are consistently profitable overall. Like 87.2% of physicians' offices, a staggering 94.9% of dentists' offices, 86.6% of legal services firms all report net income. These are not necessarily flashy, but they are consistently robust and reliable paths to wealth.
So what does this all mean for someone considering their career path? The book makes it clear the path to wealth isn't always glamorous or about chasing the latest trend. Often, it involves taking direct control of your economic future through entrepreneurship, whether that's in a niche service or a stable, dull, normal industry. It's about finding an area you understand, being disciplined, and consistently working at it with an eye on long-term accumulation, not just quick income.
Well put. It's about the long game.
Speaking of the long game, let's talk taxes and estate planning. Millionaires, as the book shows, operate with a fundamental understanding. The more they spend, the more income they must realize to cover that spending. And critically, the more income they realize, the more they must allocate for income taxes. So what does this mean for their financial strategies? It means a deep focus on tax efficiency.
That's absolutely right. Millionaires, as revealed in the book, adhere to an incredibly important rule. They meticulously minimize realized income subject to tax. Their total annual realized income is typically less than 7% of their overall wealth. The book's study found it was exactly 6.7%.
Less than 7% realized from their total wealth each year.
Yes. And as a direct result of this strategic approach, millionaires pay, on average, only a bit over 2% of their total wealth in income taxes each year. Now compare that to the typical American household, which pays a staggering 11.6% of their net worth in taxes annually.
Over 11% versus 2%. That's huge.
It's a massive difference. The strategic minimization of taxable income isn't about evasion. It's a key legal factor in how they remain financially independent and continue to grow their wealth. They inherently grasp that taxes are levied on realized income, not on their total wealth, and certainly not on the appreciation of wealth if it remains unrealized. Let it grow untaxed.
And the key studies really show this difference clearly. Sharon, the UAW.
Right. Sharon, the classic UAW, $220,000 income, $370,000 net worth. Her realized income represents a hefty 59.5% of her total wealth. She pays 18.8% of her wealth in federal taxes annually, high percentages.
Okay, compared to Barbara the PAW.
Now, contrast her with Barbara the PAW, same $220,000 income, but a much larger $3,550,000 net worth. For Barbara, her realized income is a mere 6.2% of her wealth, and she pays only 2% of her wealth in federal taxes. The gap in efficiency is just astonishing.
And it gets even more dramatic with someone like Ross Perot.
Oh, yeah. The book takes us into the realm of the super affluent with Ross Perot. Reported $230 million income, immense $2.4 billion net worth, he realized only 9.6% of his vast wealth as income and paid an astonishingly low 0.8% less than 1% of his wealth in federal taxes.
How is that even possible?
By strategically investing heavily in things like tax-free municipal bonds, tax-sheltered real estate, and holding on to stocks with significant unrealized gains, allowing his wealth to compound without triggering immediate tax events.
So it's not illegal tax dodging?
Absolutely not. The book strongly differentiates strategic planning from evasion. It's about meticulously structuring wealth to minimize realized income through legal and highly strategic investment choices. Perot, for example, achieved an effective tax rate on his income of 8.5%, which was actually lower than the average American household's rate at the time. And his tax paid as a percentage of his total wealth was drastically lower. The insightful IRS scholar character in the book, Mr. Stern, even jokes about millionaires winning against the taxman precisely because they simply don't generate significant taxable income from their vast wealth. They prefer to let it grow unrealized.
It's a fundamental difference in approach.
Yeah.
Okay, beyond annual income taxes, the book also delves into estate planning, how millionaires transfer wealth efficiently. And it's not just about wills, right? It starts much earlier.
Much earlier. Many millionaires, the book reveals, strategically transform themselves into non-millionaires before the Reaper, BR, as Mr. Stern jokingly refers to pre-death transfers. They achieve this by proactively giving substantial, often tax-advantaged, gifts to charities, colleges, and relatives well before their passing. The book gives the vivid example of Lucielle, who had a net worth of $7 million just a year before her death, but left less than $200,000 in her actual estate.
Wow, she gave most of it away beforehand.
Exactly. She strategically distributed her wealth to minimize estate taxes and direct funds where she wanted them to go. This emphasizes that for the affluent, planning wealth transfer is a deeply long-term, proactive, and meticulously executed endeavor.
And choosing executors is a big part of that.
A critical aspect, yes. The careful choice of executors is crucial for ensuring harmonious estate distribution and avoiding family conflict. The book highlights the wise approach of Mr. Harvey, a wealthy entrepreneur who appointed both his children and his attorney as co-executors. He explained his rationale. Just to keep the balance, you know when money's involved, what can happen.
That's pragmatic. Avoid the family feuds.
Exactly. This raises an important question for all of us. Who should you truly trust with your legacy, especially when substantial assets are involved?
And the book found most millionaires agree on having an outsider.
Yes. A clear majority, 7 out of 9 millionaires surveyed, agreed that at least one outsider, typically a professional like an attorney or a trust officer, should be a co-executor. They understood implicitly that even the closest family relationships can be severely strained or even destroyed when large sums of money are involved. A neutral, experienced professional can be vital.
What about the influence of attorney relatives? That was interesting.
Yes, quite intriguing. A nuanced finding from the book is the significant influence of having an attorney as a son or daughter within affluent families. Their presence significantly increases the probability that all children in that family will receive substantial cash gifts from their parents before their passing.
Why is that?
Because these attorney children often advise their parents on legal strategies to minimize estate taxes through annual gift giving. It effectively changes the structure of wealth transfer from large lump sum inheritances to more distributed wealth during the parent's lifetime, which, as we discussed with EOC, can be a double-edged sword, but it's a common and legally advised strategy among the affluent.
Okay, shifting to the final major theme, raising children. Beyond just accumulating wealth, the Millionaire Next Door offers direct, actionable advice for parents who want to instill financial discipline and independence in their kids. And it's not about spoiling them, right? It's about equipping them for success, often by not giving them everything.
Exactly. These principles, derived from observing hundreds of successful millionaire families, emphasize fundamental behaviors over direct financial handouts. Discipline over indulgence. Long-term perspective over immediate desires. They are essentially a practical roadmap for fostering that PAW mindset, the prodigious accumulator of wealth mindset, in the next generation. It's about teaching values and crucial life skills that are far more enduring than any financial gift.
Okay, let's dive into some of these key principles. The first one seems counterintuitive. Never tell children that their parents are wealthy. Why not?
Well, the book found that UAWs, the underaccumulators, often came from households where parents flaunted high-status lifestyles. Their children then naturally sought to emulate that, often through high consumption rather than accumulation. Conversely, PAWs prioritize teaching by example through their actions and values, not just words. If children constantly see lavish living and hear about wealth, they'll think that's the norm, often leading to spending rather than saving, setting them up for instability.
Makes sense. Keep it low-key. What about number 2? Be tough. Don't say poor me. Don't waste. Always put things back. Flush. Seems basic.
Simple, yet profoundly foundational rules for instilling discipline, resourcefulness, and responsibility. The book shares that wonderful anecdote of Dr. North's daughter who, at just 12, made a poster called The King's Rules with these very maxims. They reflect an environment where children learn the value of resources and self-reliance from a young age rather than being indulged. It builds character.
Okay. Number 3, assured children won't realize affluence until after they've established mature, disciplined adult lifestyles, like using trust payable after age 40.
Exactly. Dr. North, the PAW example, famously never gives cash gifts to his children. His reasoning: cash gives them too many options. He firmly believed immediate cash often leads to consumption, especially for young adults swayed by media and peers. This strategy forces children to develop their own work ethic and financial habits before getting any windfall so they can actually manage it.
Okay. Number 4, don't try to compete with your children. Don't boast about accumulated money. How does that hurt?
It's subtle but powerful. Parents constantly boasting about wealth can foster low self-esteem in kids who feel they can't compete financially. Instead of encouraging them, it sets an impossible standard and distracts them from focusing on their own achievements and self-worth. True wealth isn't a competition.
Right. Number 5, emphasize children's achievements, not symbols of success. Focus on effort and skill.
Precisely. Shift the focus entirely. Celebrate their efforts, talents, accomplishments, not material things. The message is, strive to be the best in your field, and money will follow as a byproduct. Ken's father, the physician PAW in the book, told him, "I'm not impressed with what people own, but I'm impressed with what they achieve." He stressed becoming excellent, knowing financial reward would follow genuine value creation, and Ken became a PAW himself.
That's powerful. And number 6, teach children that there are things more valuable than money: health, family, integrity.
Yes, the book clearly articulates these: good health, a loving family, self-reliance, reputation, integrity, a history of achievements. The book frames money as icing on the cake of life, important for security and freedom, sure, but secondary to these fundamental human values. It helps children see wealth as a tool, not the ultimate goal.
So what does this all mean for parents or anyone interacting with younger generations? It's about consciously creating an environment that fosters courage, promotes discipline, builds self-sufficiency, rather than enabling dependency or focusing on outward display. Build character first, and financial strength follows.
That's the essence of it. And the book repeatedly emphasizes that the most successful business owners and professionals are those who put their own resources, their own skin in the game behind their ventures, often having no safety net. They succeed in a very real sense because they have to succeed. This sheer necessity cultivates a level of resilience, ingenuity, and drive that financial handouts simply cannot replicate.
Like Laura's story in the book, the real estate executive.
Exactly. Laura's inspiring story is a powerful testament to this. Faced with a sudden divorce and, critically, having no financial support from her wealthy parents, a conscious choice she made, she refused to go back to her old job or ask for money. Her unwavering determination, nurtured by a background of independence and discipline, propelled her to extraordinary success in real estate. She famously declared, "It's amazing what you can do when you set your mind to it. You'll be surprised how many sales calls you can make when you have no alternative except to succeed."
No alternative except success. Wow.
Laura's story serves as a profound testament to the unparalleled value of self-reliance. It demonstrates with vivid clarity that sometimes the greatest catalysts for wealth creation and personal success are sheer necessity and the deliberate absence of a financial safety net. Her background, working part-time jobs, managing campaigns, had equipped her with crucial skills. She fully utilized every one of them when faced with adversity, ultimately becoming much better off than her former husband. It proves true potential often emerges most powerfully when you're forced to rely entirely on yourself.
All right, so we've taken a really comprehensive deep dive into the Millionaire Next Door, and what a revelation it's been. It turns out America's truly affluent are almost certainly not who you pictured. They're typically self-made, often incredibly frugal, deeply disciplined, and consistently live well below their means. They prioritize lasting financial independence over any fleeting display of social status. It's a surprising and, frankly, incredibly empowering message for anyone looking to build wealth.
Yeah, we've uncovered how crucial habits like meticulous budgeting, diligent and early investment planning, and making smart strategic choices about careers and financial advisors really are. Perhaps most importantly, the book highlights the often detrimental impact of unchecked economic outpatient care on adult children. And conversely, it powerfully illuminates the profound strength of fostering genuine independence by teaching self-reliance and the true, enduring value of earning and saving.
So, for you, our listener, what stands out most from this deep dive? What's one habit from this book you might adopt, maybe, or one long-held assumption you'll challenge about wealth? Whether it's tracking your spending more closely, rethinking your approach to giving gifts to adult children, strategically choosing a career that serves the affluent, or even just noticing the cars in your neighborhood with a completely new perspective. This deep dive offers a powerful new lens through which to view wealth and your own financial future.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the book fundamentally suggests that the truest measure of wealth isn't just the size of your bank account, maybe not even close. It's the extent of your genuine financial freedom and the timeless values you successfully impart to yourself and future generations. This truly raises an important, perhaps even provocative question for all of us. In today's consumption-driven, always-on society, how much courage does it really